Right, welcome back to another video at God, I can't tell what my name is. At NZ Hombre Outlaw Kustoms. Geez, that was a brain blank, wasn't it? So this will be 131, I think, on that. So anyway, the owner of the vehicle had some success over the last few days. He went further north, up country a bit, and I think he actually went and seen the family that he got the back part of the body off to replace the original one that had been chopped off it at some point. He went and seen that family on his travels, and he found some pieces. So I'll turn the camera around and we'll show you what he found. Right, so did a complete defed, and the gears look good on it. I'll have a closer inspection, but they look pretty good just at first glance. So that's cool. Got some. That's typical. Shut up. Found some more bonnet hold downs, or the hoods hold downs. They're not exactly the same, but they're very, very similar. So that's cool. Found one, what do I call it? The windscreen piece that comes in and out. So I should be able to replicate another one. That's cool. Found another door lock, which is, I think, almost the same. It's got a piece broken out of it. I can repair that, straighten it out, whatever. So we've got one. So that means we've got three, and I've got parts to make another one. So we should be right. I just have to rebuild the other one and obviously make sure this one's working properly. So that's cool. And we got a speedo here, which hopefully works fine. Hopefully I can strip it down and clean it up and whatever else, and go through it and make sure it's fine. But yeah, it's cool. So that's proper Stuart Warner, proper speedo for it, with the trip meter and everything like that. So that's cool. So that's the bits that we found. So that's a big relief. That means I can get that shit sorted. Apparently the guy had a few diffs and bits and pieces there. So it's a bonus. Like if he does happen to have a damaged one for some reason, well, he knows where there's more. So that's cool. So we're ahead of the game, but at least we've got hopefully a decent crown wheel and pinion. We'll get that cleaned up. We'll probably use that housing because it looks like it's fairly clean, and it's been in that one, so it should be happy in that. We'll have to put it together and make sure it's right, but yeah, so that's cool. And the door locks handy, all that sort of thing. So we're ahead, getting winning again, so that's good. A few less pieces to find and make. So yeah, I'm going to get sanding on this stuff. So yeah, in the end of the last video, I didn't show it, but I reapplied hopefully the last on the body. I've got to mix up a little bit more because it got warm yesterday. I just didn't really realise how much the temperature had come up. The last of the body filler that I wanted to put on there went off, and I missed a few bits because the bit that was left on the thing, it went off, so I didn't get a chance to spread everywhere I wanted to on this side. But we'll block this out what we've got, and then we'll revisit with the last little bits and pieces. And hopefully, I'm hoping today's Wednesday, so if I get a good go at this stuff and hopefully get the last of this crap cleaned up, I'm hoping that I can have a clean up, put the doors back on and bits and pieces, and get some high build on this body. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll probably block back the body, once more, and try and get this stuff sorted too. Actually, I better do this too today. I'll get this back part of here done and get this filled a little bit, and block all that out, and then yeah, we'll get some high build on this. Yeah, and hopefully Friday, I think, because that gives me tomorrow and that to finish this stuff off and have a clean up, and we'll get the doors back on it and prime it Friday. And I might be able to do that back balance Friday. I don't think I'm going to get these fenders and stuff blocked back, but that doesn't matter, you know. I can do them next week, you know, and we can block this back as well. So that's cool. Be good to get this stuff back. Actually, I actually need to check up on the tie rod ends, see if we can get that back on here too. Be handy if I can get them back in here. At least then the wheels will steer together when we're pushing it around, if we need to push it around. But yeah, be nice to get some high build on here. Right, I'll stop waffling and we'll get into it, and we'll come back to you when we're made some progress. Righty, so I've blocked back this side and cleaned up most of the little bits and pieces. I've got a few little spots I need to finish and sort, which I think just with a glazing putty. So I've got a funny spot here. It's got like I need to put a little bit of filler in there, and the rest of it I think is pretty good. You know, it needs a little bit of a sand around here just to try and clean up the corners. I've got most of it, but you know, there's a lot of little pieces that needs cleaned up. Again, here, a couple of little marks, but I think, you know, and there's a couple of little bit that might need a little glazing putty or something like that. So that's pretty much done. That's pretty much done. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, we will know when as soon as we put high build on it and start blocking back whether we need to fix anything else or chase anything else, you know what I mean? Like, and at that point it should be only either blocking or high build, or maybe a touch of glazing putty if something doesn't quite look right. It's the same here. I'm pretty good. I need to put a little bit of something down here. This is a real prick to get in the sand because it's right on the chassis. I'll put some tape in here. I think probably before the end of the day, I'm probably going to have to maybe undo a couple of bolts, lift the body a little bit, put a bit of masking paper on here, and maybe wet sand the edge of the chassis, and maybe put a little bit of, puff a little bit of black back in there, because I know that, you know, I'm going to end up scratching this. I've got tape on there, but hopefully I don't bust through, but it's a real prick of a spot. Hopefully I should be okay now. I'm not using heavy grits, but I might break through that tape. I've got a couple of layers there, but who knows with sanding and everything, you know, over time, you know, I might bust through that, because I've touched it a few times with the, even with the DA, knocking the worst off, trying not to get down close. But I've got a few little imperfections. I've got to put a little bit more in here, you know, a little bit in that corner, and maybe the odd that little spot. There's a little bit there, you know, and there's a little bit of, needs a little bit of glazing putty or something on here. There's a bit of a mark that just hasn't quite sanded right through enough. But again, we're right on the money basically, you know. It's just little things. So between these and the doors, you know, and once I get the other side sanded, I might just mix up a little bit of putty, glazing putty, and just squish in those hot and the worst bits, and we'll get the rest with high build, and then pick it up and see whether it needs it after the high build, if you know what I mean. Yeah, and I haven't sanded this side yet, so I'm about to do this. Right, so I've blocked this side back, or sanded this side back. I got a few little spots I've got to revisit, but I think I might better get them with just glazing putty when we do all that little bits. I'm going to need a little piece in here, and maybe a little bit on here. I'll get this piece anyway, and then when we high build, we'll pick up whether we need to do any more around here. And I want to refit the rear fenders at some point in these stages to make sure that everything does go together seamlessly, you know, well, really, really nicely, and there's nothing that's going to be seen after the, you know, you get the little welting, little rolled rubber welting, in here. I've got to put a little bit more in here just to tidy this up. And as I said, this I'll put some body filler in here and just sand it out smooth. I'm not going to get real fussy, but I'll just, you know, if there's marks and bits and pieces, I'll just try and sand it out as smooth as I can, just so you don't see these welds, and then we'll texture coat it with some stone guard. But yeah, I need to put a little bit more in here just to clean this up. You know, it's not nice yet. And again, when we fit the fenders and all that sort of stuff, we'll better see whether we need to do anything extra both sides. You know, there's a little bit down here that still needs touch clean up, you know, a little here, a little bit here. You know, we're getting really close, you know, maybe a little bit up here, you know, and that bit there's like it's missed a little bit of filler, you know, in between sanding. You know, it may even need just a harder sand back up there. And again, down here, like I'm just, you know, I've got little spots that are low, I haven't had enough filler in there, a little bit back here. You know, maybe another clean up a little of the edges type sort of thing. So to do that, get it really, get it as close as what I think it is, and then we'll, yeah, I think we'll get some high build on this thing. I've still got to do around the back up here and get this blended in, because you can see that it's not perfect. It's been pretty beaten. So what other thing I might do now is, will I get it with glazing putty? I probably will. I might put some tape around here. I've got some wide masking tape. Put some tape around here, and yeah, and mix up some glazing putty and put in here, and see if we can smooth this out and make it lots better. Should probably just need to hit that with a hammer, so we can get that in a wee bit, or flatten it out a little bit there. That much might be awkward now that it's all glued down. I didn't realise it's quite as bad. You know, and blend this all in. Actually, I'll tape it off, and I might put some body filler up there and blend the body filler into this a little bit, because it's not, it's, yeah, you know, I've got to be careful to do that too. Yeah, it's funny because the upholstery comes right down to here, and then I don't even know, you probably don't even see to this, but it still needs to look better than it does. And blend that in. You know, you have one of those moments and you just think, what the fuck are you doing? I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you. Hold on. Right, I said in the last clip, well, the clip before I just turned the camera around, you know, that I was going to mask this up and whatever, and put some body filler on there. So I masked it up, and I must have checked my phone. I thought, oh yeah, no, I've got freaking so many minutes to, you know, it'd be plenty of time to mix the body filler up and spread it on there. But what I forgot to do was come back and put a bigger piece of masking tape on here, and then I got the body filler on, and I got to the end of it, and I thought, fuck, I haven't sanded this. So I just had to scrape it all off again. Because I thought, well, I've got it mixed up now, I better put it on, you know, I'll just clean that off. But, you know, I got to the end of it, and I was like, dawned on me, I hadn't sanded any of this, because I was going to come back along and rough it up with a bit of 80 grit. I completely forgot. So I thought, shit, I better scrape that off and clean it up. I'll put some more masking tape on there, mix some more body filler, and then I'll go for lunch. That was a mess. Oh well. Yeah, I'll try not to do that again. I looked at my phone and I said, oh yeah, no, I've got a few minutes so I can get that done. And then I completely forgot about to put the extra piece of masking tape around there and give it a quick scuff before I fucking mix the body filler up. But oh, shit happens. Righty, so that was fun. It's after lunch now. So I put that on, I've sanded it off. I didn't quite have enough to go around here the second time. So I'll mix some more up. I need to obviously get a bit more edges. I need to clean it up, bits and pieces above. Not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet. I need a little bit more in places. It's one of those things you'll get it in a couple of hits, I suppose. It's just a matter of getting it nice and clean back underneath again, and even and all that sort of stuff. Needs a bit more tidied up. But yeah, worked quite well. Oh shit, got that board sticking out there. So yeah, a bit more in here. But yeah, it is what it is. It's not going to be too bad. Again, we'll find out what it really looks like when we get high build on it. I'll just sand that off and whatever. But yeah, that was an absolute bitch to put on, because you're trying to put it on such a small area and trying to keep it off the other area and trying to stop it from dripping, and because you can't just put it on there and spread it out. You're trying to put it on this little frickin', what are we talking, bit over half an inch sort of strip. But yeah, the tape definitely worked with the skinny stuff, and then a couple of big wide strips underneath just to stop making a mess basically, and the piece above it. And then once I put it on and it was basically going off, I just pulled the tape off and left it, and I've just blocked it off now, in the last sort of 5-10 minutes. Just cleaned it up, so yeah, I'll put a wee bit more in. Obviously in spots it needs a bit more. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do above here, or whether I just blend it into this or what, to be honest. Basically we'll know when we go to put the upholstery on that's, so far down here the upholstery comes to, so we'll know that that's wood underneath there and not steel. Now we're going to know that it's going to be, whatever that is, half an inch or a bit more as metal, and then the rest of it's wood. So I don't know whether I should just blend that into that or what. Yeah, I don't know, or whether I could try and come along here and scrape a line into it and make it look like, I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? Yeah. I'm in two minds to blend it in to here, and maybe next time just scrape the body filler up into here and actually just sand the whole bloody thing smooth and just paint it up into here. But know that when we put the upholstery in, I can mask that off, to be honest. When we paint it, I just mask it off and leave a gap down here, so we just put the upholstery down to that edge and then be done with it. But just blend it in, I don't know. It'll be just easier, I think. A lot less screwing around. Yeah, I don't know. I'll make up a mind, and by the time you see it, I probably would have done it anyway. That's the worst thing with doing videos like this. Sometimes, you might get a reply back, but you're actually 2 or 3 days after you put the video up, and you've already done it anyway. It's a bit like actually with John from C.A.R. John, C.A.R. builder, C.A.R. finisher, whatever. Yeah, he was actually talking to Arco the other day, and he thought he'd pissed me off. He hadn't really. It was just sometimes it was just as easier to explain where I was coming from, and and put a bit more depth into it than normal, just so he understood where I was coming from and the experience I've had, and with these door hinges and bits and pieces and stuff like that. Like this wasn't my first build. It's my first build of something of this era within reason, but because I did help Dad restore that rugby that you've seen in the start of my burnout video, and it's been in other videos as well, way back. But yeah, I did help him restore that back in, I don't know, whatever it was, 1990 or whatever it was, when I was, I don't know, would have been about 15 or 16, I guess. Yeah, about 16, because I was 20 in 94, so yeah. So yeah, I did help him do that, and I've done so many other vehicles of different descriptions over the years, and helped and whatever, and pulled apart that many. Yeah, I know that most door hinges on a lot of vehicles are different, but I noticed on this thing that they are pretty much the same. So top and bottom, I can't tell the difference. And I think even looking at the casting number on here, they're the same. Yeah, I just noticed there's a casting number on them. I'm pretty sure that's the same. So go figure. What was that? 210189. Whatever that funny thing is there. Yeah. So they're the same. Well, they're the same there anyway. But anyway, I'll put a bit more body filler in here. I'll have to tape it off again, but because I don't like leaving you shouldn't, some tapes you can leave a long time, but you've got to be careful how long you leave it, and especially with the product on top. When the product on top of it starts going off and gets really hard, then it becomes a problem to get off. So it's easy to pull it off when it's pretty green. You know, you can just whip it off and it doesn't cause any problems. It's a bit like when you're demasking a car, you know, sort of like an hour or two afterwards, once it's had enough time to sort of cure up the paint, that you know you're not going to damage it by touching it, if you know what I mean. As long as you're gentle, that's when you go around and pull all your masking tape off. You know, sort of 2, 3, 4 hours later, after you've let it sit there and cure and whatever, and you know, whether it's in a booth or or whatever, or just in an environment like this, you know, you're painted, especially if you're painting 2-pack or something that goes off fast. You know, you can come back 3 or 4 hours later, 5 hours later, sort of type thing, or even the next morning, and pull all your tape and everything all off, and you're pretty good. But if you left it there for 3 or 4 days, like say you'd done a vehicle, say like you're in a business and you've done a vehicle, like say Friday, you know, you finished it like, I don't know, say midnight Friday night, and you thought, screw it, we'll go, you know, I'll go home and we'll go do what I was going to do for the rest of the weekend now, you know, and you didn't come back until Monday morning, well, you might have issues, you know. You've got to get that tape off within a reasonable time frame, because by the time 3 days has gone past, all that tape and shit's getting pretty hard, you know, with all the chemicals and shit that's gone on it from the paint. Now, if you can get it off within a few hours, you know, sort of probably, you know, less than sort of 10 would be ideal, pull it off and you don't have any issues normally. But you can, I've seen it, you know, where they've left it on too long and all of a sudden you go to pull it off and you can't get it off and they end up repainting the car. It's been a long time since I have seen that, but I have seen it. You know, somebody's left tape on somewhere and they've pulled a piece off and it's freaking damaged the paint coming off. You know, it's pulled all. That's, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to remember, but I think, you know, there's a piece of tape down low somewhere that they'd left on something, and they pulled it off, and it ripped part of the paint off with it, because the paint that was on the tape had really cured into the paint that was beside it. That should have come off easy, but it didn't. It fucking pulled a big chunk of paint off, like it sort of ripped it off, you know, and made a freaking prick of a mess. And they had to repaint that section of the car, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I'll mix some more body filler up and I'll mud it on here. I think I'll just freaking do right up around the edge. It's damn sight easier. And we'll just knock it all off and we'll get this nice and smooth. You know, this isn't going to matter because it's covered with, you know, it's going to have foam on it and whatever, you know, for the seat and the upholstery. And they can just bring it down, and we'll just have to remember that, you know, we'll not paint it or mask off down here, and we know that, you know, we'll put primer and everything, all that sort of crap on it, and we might even, I don't know, we'll work something out, like I can take the body colour off and then blow a bit of something on there, you know, just so it's sealed. But when they put the upholstery on there, that's not going to be a problem. Yeah, we'll work that out later. I'll get some more mud on there. It's not too bad. It's not going to take much more to sort it. It's a simple little job, but it's an awkward little job. Anyway, I might actually go around here and scuff a bit of this shit off. No, it's not too panicky. I can do that later, but we'll get it on. Right, got the body filler on again, or some more on it. Man, I hate body filler. It can be such a pain in the ass. It's really warmed up in the last hour or two. And I wouldn't, like, it's not even sunny outside or anything. Well, it is, but it's not. You know, it's quite overcast, sort of overcast, patchy. No, a bit of blue, but the temperature's lifted quite a bit. I'd say we're probably like 22, 23 degrees C, which I guess is, you know, mid-70s or something like that, starting to maybe push towards an 80. But shit, you know, like, it's amazing how much faster body filler goes off. You know, you go from the point where you're struggling to get it to go off on top because it gums up, and then you get to that next point where you start to get those good temperatures. But if you're used to putting a little extra body filler, hardener in it to make it go off, and then you're trying to cut it back, but you're probably still putting too much in it, and then you struggle to get it on. But anyway, I've got it on here. So hopefully when I block that back and clean it up, it should be pretty good. It wasn't too bad before that, but I just thought it'll blend that in and it should look fine. Yeah, because I'm almost out. Like I've virtually got hardly anything left in the can because I've had a couple bits, go off of me. Even the first time when I put it on there, I actually mixed up a bit. And when I was trying to get it on there, it was going off of me, and then I scraped that other piece off because I freaking put it on there and forgot the sand. So I've wasted a bit in the last freaking half a day, and I had a little bit left over, and I was trying to get it into a couple of little areas where I thought maybe I'd just throw a little bit extra in. There was some marks that weren't too bad, but I thought, I've got a little bit left over, I'll just scrape a little bit finally on there. I was going to do a little bit around the other side, but I actually managed to get one of the funny patches around the bottom of this, I guess you'd call it the dog leg. Before it was really starting to go off, I managed to scrape a bit in there just to improve that. That I was just going to put some glazing putty in it, but I thought if it'll let your body fill it, I'll just scrape a bit in there. But yeah, so that's cool. So that's that done. So I'll let that go off. We'll block that off shortly. That won't take much to go off at all because it was going off as it was going on down there. So yeah, like the gumminess will go pretty quick. Righty guys, so I think I'm about done for the day. So I'll turn the camera around and show you what I've been doing for the last while, I guess. So I've had a bit of a clean up in here, sweep the floors, whatever. Put the doors back in the car. Things have moved a little bit, but I don't know if it's just the heat or what. Just things have tweaked a little bit. Oh God, I don't know. Stupid wooden cars. Anyway, so yeah, I sanded that body filler back off around the back. It needs, more on it, a little bit here and there. We'll get that sorted tomorrow. I'll scuff the back of the body, get that scuffed down, because I might just blow more on there. That'll give me some more material to block out. The two front doors still fit pretty good. The gaps are pretty good. That one there does need, the far side one needs a little bit taken off this bottom edge. But these two back doors, I don't know, they sort of want to fit in the hole and then they don't want to fit in the hole. Well, it's not horrendous, but it's I don't know, it's moved around. It's weird. I don't know. I don't get these freaking stupid things. I'm pretty sure I've got everything back in the right place. I'll have another jiggle with them tomorrow at some point. Or we'll have a look in the morning and see whether the temperature's changed anything, you know what I mean? Because it's really hot now. Well, I wouldn't say it's really hot, but it's definitely not freaking cold. I'm sweating my ass off. I definitely don't need long pants on anymore. This is like where it needs opened up a little bit here. Like that back gap's good. It probably could tweak that way a little bit. So, I can probably play with them a little bit more before we get it really, before we paint. Like I can jiggle a little bit. I can probably shim, maybe something somewhere just to get them fitting a little bit. I thought they fitted better the other day. I pulled them off to block them out. And typical. I don't know whether it's just heat in the wood and moving and whatever, because like this shed heats up and it creaks and groans and whatever, and so wood moves. Like there's still the bits and pieces I need to spot, like glazing putty, like all these marks. I haven't done anything with the doors. When I do that stuff tomorrow or whatever, I can fill all these bits. Get these edges, whatever, corners, what sort of stuff. But yeah, we're almost ready for high build on the car again. So that's cool, and on the whole body. So yeah, that's good. We're getting closer. So yeah, I had to clean up because I thought, tomorrow, if I have a bit more of a sand and just fix the odd little mark and bits and pieces, and then I can have another quick sweep up and whatever and blow down, and then maybe Friday you know, by the time I get everything sort of dialed in and cleaned up, and we should be able to blow some primer on this thing. On this front part of the body, you know, I'll scuff the top of the cowl and that, you know, so we can just blow primer straight over top of that. And then we'll better get a real good look and just see what else needs, you know, whether we need to do anything else to make it look good. No, it's all just time, sanding, and sanding time, you know, blocking back and whatever. A bit more high build and whatever. But yeah, the heat in the day's beaten me today. It's be almost 5 o'clock, so I'll clean up, or lock the doors and whatever, and bugger off and attack it again tomorrow. So yeah, that's about it. I don't think I have anything else to say. Right, morning guys. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of putty or something shortly and do these little marks in here and just catch anything else that really needs, like in the doors, bits in here. You know, just any other little funny imperfections I need to just double check and remind myself where they are before I go mix the putty up, so I'm not chasing my tail looking for stuff. Now, there's a few little marks. I'm not worried about everything, as long as I try and get the worst stuff, and we'll pick everything else up as we go through the high build and whatever else. And then I'll block, and while that's going off, I'll block back the back of the body. We'll give it a fairly good hit anyway. I'm not worried about blocking it right back. Basically, I want to get it blocked back to a reasonable amount that'll obviously help flatten the body, that panel or this area out. And then I'll have a clean up and obviously scuff that stuff off, and have a clean up after I've scuffed this stuff off, you know, once I block the body back. And then, yeah, I'll try and get myself sorted for mixing up some high build and whatever, and getting some paint or some product back on top of this, which would be freaking absolutely awesome. And then once we've got that on, and it's dry and whatever, if I get it on today, I should do, if I've got enough time to blow. I'd like to get it at least on the back part of the body. We'll see. Yeah, I'll try and do the whole thing again with probably a good 6 layers, or thereabouts. You know, 5, 6 layers of product on this main part of the body. You know, to be honest, the firewall, you know, I'll probably just blow like a couple or 3 on here. You know, give it a good covering, but not load it up with product, because it's not a panel that's going to need a lot of attention, you know what I mean? Up here, I'll put on as much product as I do down here. And this up here will probably only really need this hit unless I find anything, and then maybe just a couple of light ones later on after we've got the rest of it dialed in. You know, we'll get the initial on it, get plenty of product up here, and then, you know, when we block all the bottom part of the vehicle out and we come back, you know, we'll probably only high build back up to it again, if you know what I mean, without blowing it over. And then when we do, unless there's anything that I really need to address up here that I find when we do a block out on it, but then I should only have to do maybe another couple of coats later on before we, you know, for the final, before we do the final block back and then paint the car. That, I think the top of it's pretty good. It's one of the few places that doesn't have a lot of damage from over the years. You know, it's managed to survive. The top part's survived pretty well. You know, the rest of it's, yeah, well, you know, it's all been either rebuilt or remade or whatever, you know, and that's where it's had a few knocks and dents. It is what it is. So, yeah, we'll get some product on here, hopefully today. If not, it'll be tomorrow. But yeah, I'd like to do it today because I think this afternoon's going to be pretty warm. So it'll be perfect weather for it. So yeah, I'll get going and get some putty mixed up, and then we'll block this out, knock the top off the putty, and we'll smash some high build on this thing. I thought I might have been able to do it tomorrow, but I think I'll get it done today. Pretty sure I'll get it done today, as long as I get all this other stuff cleaned up by sort of mid late-ish morning. You know, by the time you let stuff go off, and it'll take a while to block this back part, a decent amount back. You know, and then knock the top off that other stuff, and then have a clean up. Yeah, as long as I'm cleaned up, I think as long as I'm cleaned up and ready to go by lunchtime, we'll be good. And then I can smash it on after lunch. Right, we'll carry on. Righty guys, so I've been blocking back the back of the body. So it's not come up too bad. There's still a few marks in it that obviously need more high build. I've got it down pretty hard, you know, obviously because there's lots of little pieces of steel starting to come through. Hopefully you can see that, the grey place, have it freaking fight with cameras. So I've just got little bits of steel, and there's still the odd little, you know, low spot that you can feel because you can still see the texture of the paint. But that's cool. It is what it is. I know it's probably going to need a wee bit more down here. This top part is pretty good. The bottom part is the, we'll say the problem child. It just needs more material on it. And now it's on this freaking near this chassis rail. It's awkward to sand. And just, no, this piece here is alright, but it's when you get close to here, it's awkward to sand. But it's dialing in alright. So I'm about to start knocking back the glazing putty on everything else, and get that all just scuffed back, basically. Knock the worst of the top off it. This here I can knock back hard. I'm going to be careful about knocking it back too hard on the rest of the bodywork. We'll get it knocked back, but you know what I mean. We'll try and not make problems for ourselves, if you know what I mean, by digging into material that you don't want to dig into. But so yeah, it's where we're at the moment. And then I'll have once I've got this done, I'll have a clean up and get myself ready for high build. And I might have a shuffle around, and I might give these the tops freaking sunlight, man. Stop playing with the phone. Knock this stuff off too and give these a clean up, and I might reprime that and that, and give this a quick scuff up and reprime this too while I'm doing that. This will soak up a bit of material, so I've got a little bit left in one can, and I've got another 4 litres left, which is a bit over a gallon. So I'll probably get a gallon and sort of 1.2, 1.3 gallon sort of type sort of thing left between the two. So we're going to probably have to end up getting some more, unfortunately, but it is what it is. It'll be interesting. It mightn't take much more than that to get the body ready for paint, but we've still got a lot of pieces to do. And I know these fenders are going to take another few more coats. There's still little problem areas in them which are going to take a wee bit to get sanded and dialed in. It's just such a shit of things to sand. I'm actually kind of avoiding them at the moment. But they're alright, but they're just really awkward to sand because of the shapes of them. It's very awkward to. I've got to almost sand it with like this skinny block or that skinny block. Like it's these wider things, bigger things are awkward because you're missing too much, and then that makes it very slow process. I'm gonna have to sand a lot of it with this and this too. Like it is what it is, and I'll have to do a lot of it even by hand, by fingertips, which will probably just end up using this, or maybe another smaller piece. They're just piggy. They're just so round, and it makes it very, very awkward. It's not so much this piece, and it's not so much this piece. It's this stuff in here, which is the critical thing that looks really bad when it's wrong. you know, and then transitioning down into here and stuff like that. So these will take another few coats to really get cleaned up, just because they were so bashed about for a start off. I've had to do so much work on them. Whereas I think this, because these are such big flat panels, they might take a few extra coats, but just to get rid of any marks. But they're easier to sand, you know, within reason. Big panels, but easy to sand. You know, it's going to be the areas in here that are the shitty bits, you know. But yeah, we'll get this stuff knocked back and we'll get ready for some high build. Righty guys, so I am ready to spray after lunch. It's borderline lunchtime. I've had another clean up and blow down. I think I've got everything ready on here. Actually, I just, you know, I did scuff that stuff back. So you've blown this down, scuffed all the front area, all the firewall, blown it all down. I haven't wiped it down yet with prep. I'll do that after lunch because I'll just let any dust settle in here and then we can give it a good wipe down. And I'll give it a gentle blow down before at low pressure. I've got the compressor drained. I've got all the taps from the manifold open. I've got the tap on the compressor open to just let any moisture run out. I haven't actually drained because I've been doing so much sanding and blowing down and whatever with the compressor. I haven't actually drained it for a couple of 3 days, or probably a week. So I've got all the taps open. I've got the pressure set at a bit over 30 on the regulator, and as soon as I pull the trigger on the gun, it drops down to just about 28-30 psi. I might push it up a little bit to spray this high build. I'm not sure. I want to try and get a bit more product per pour on, if you know what I mean, per coat, because I can't run it through at full thickness. I've actually got the paint. That one there is almost empty. There's a little bit in it. There's bugger all. So a little bit in that, and I've got the other can of paint actually sitting out in the sun warming up. It's a white can, so with a black label on it. So I've got the black label sort of pointing towards the sun a bit to try and get some temp, some like direct sun temp into the paint to just get it a bit runnier. It's warm in here anyway, and I've got the hood tops prepped to be sprayed, and I've gotten the inside sitting up on some little blocks just so I can get these edges better this time. Now that these are really close, these should be almost, what I'll probably do is I'll probably give these about 3 or 4 coats. I won't go super crazy because these should be really, really close. I might give them 5, I don't know. These should be almost in their final block. The next time these, if they get any primer at all, will be just like a real light coat to seal. Basically, there'll be the sealer coat before paint, unless I need anything. But these should be almost perfect the next time I block them out. So yeah, like I blocked the putty down that I had put in spots. I've left it slightly high, so hopefully when we block everything else out, because they were the last marks. And I put that stuff in there, I don't know, probably about 7 or 8 videos ago, I guess. So yeah, I've only just blocked them off now before gave it everything a blow down again. So that stuff's slightly high, so by the time I put several coats of high build on here and block it back, these things should be just gorgeous. I'm going to block these back with 300 and 400 if I can. So yeah, these should be gorgeous. These will actually be the first parts ready because they just, apart from a little bit of damage on them, they've just come up so good, so easy. I did think about doing that, but I actually want to revisit that and give it another good hard block back and whatever, and because I put some extra putty in there at about the same time as I did that. I didn't think it was actually look quite so bad, but it needs another hard block back and piss around with it before I put anything else, any other high build or anything on there. And I did think about putting some extra paint in these, but I'm going to attack these with some glazing putty. They're actually pretty good, but in these corners, there's some leather tags and the handles and bits and pieces. I'm just going to scrape a little bit of glazing putty over there and just knock it off, and then I'll high build them. Because these have only been high builded once, I think. Oh no, they might have been twice. I can't remember. I have to look back. It was either once or twice, and not many coats at all. So yeah, I just want to put some glazing putty in just to block these around these holes, just to make them a little nicer. Because these are really hard to do anything with. Because yeah, they've got these little leather tags in the corner, and they've got handles, and there's rivets, decoration rivets and all sorts of funny things on these. So these holes are, yeah, and these are the odd little imperfection in around them. But by the time I put a little bit of glazing putty in and like a few coats on, then just block it back around these edges and give these a nice, just gentle scuff down, or gentle sand down. I'll probably only attack these with 400 sort of type thing that run around the pins this area on, because they're actually quite good. But yeah, the rest of it I'll probably block down with probably a bit of 240 and then 300 and then 400, and they should be good to go too. Because yeah, I want those ready when I've got these ready. So when I paint the body, because what I'll do is obviously you'll paint all the inside bits first. I'll paint inside the firewall, inside the jams, and all those sorts of things, and then to be honest, I'll probably back mask, like back mask here, like against this edge back, leave this open, like blow, like I'll have a light coat on it. When we do the rest of it, I'll give that a scuff back, but we'll back mask from here, and then it should blend in hopefully, or even back mask from here. And back mask the rest of this, so when the doors are all closed and we blow the whole thing on, and I'll mask the inside of the firewall, the holes, and I'll mask the opening in there, and it will probably may even lay something over top and mask off up to the edge of the timber, up the edge of the steel, so that's all sealed off when we actually do the final paint, just so you haven't got anything whipping around in there and creating any disturbances, and obviously, so if we don't get any overspray blowing around and back over and landing on stuff, so you got shit in your paint, if you know what I mean, because we're trying to do it the best we can in the environment we can, until such time as maybe, I end up with the most of the shed if they add on, and I can turn that into more of a sterile booth, a makeshift, but good sterile booth, if you know what I mean, without being a proper bake oven. I can always put heaters in there, to lift temp and all that sort of stuff before we paint, maybe during the winter or something sort of like that. But, yeah. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm going to get out of here, have some lunch, and we'll see you after lunch, and yeah, we'll go through the final prep stages and paint it, or get some high build on this thing. Alright, catch you later on. There you go, guys. So welcome back, and so I just got back from lunch. And we're about ready to give this thing a wipe down and whatever. But I was actually just reading through Facebook. It must have been a post that came up a couple of hours ago, or thereabouts. Which actually makes me really gutted that I didn't get to the drag racing at the weekend. Because there's a guy that always comes down there from, he's from up country a little bit. I'm not sure what his age would be. I imagine he'd be late 50s or might be even early 60s, I suppose, or was. And he had a really, really immaculate 27 Dodge hot rod with a small block in it and one of those low blowers on it, I think from memory. And Mr. Consistent down the drag strip, would just about dial the same number every time he went through, really, really, if you're like bracket racing, with a dial in time or something like that, it was almost impossible to beat. Mr. Consistency, and probably one of the nicest guys you ever meet. And unfortunately, I think late yesterday, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I don't really know, but he died in some sort of accident at at work somehow. I'm not even sure what he did for a job. Like he's one of those guys that you always sort of had a bit of a quick yarn to as you're walking around with the cars and bits and pieces, drag racing. I hadn't seen him for quite a while, which is part of the reason why I'm gutted I never got to go down to the drag racing at the weekend, because he was there. And died late yesterday. So you never know when your own number's up, eh? So it really sucks. Because it was funny, it was actually a couple of days ago, my mate with a green charger, and there was a guy had a post on one of the New Zealand hot rod pages, was looking for some door locks or something like that for a 27 Dodge, or about that era. And I said, the guy that just died, I said, well, he would be the man to talk to. Like, he might have some spare parts or whatever. And then go figure, he dies. Crazy. But anyway, on that sad note, we'll get some paint on this thing. So I'll give it a wipe down, and we'll mix some high build and spray it on, I guess. Now I'm all bummed out. But hopefully this will make me happy again. But anyway, it's sad, but it's one of those things. But ever since I've been going to the drag racing with all my different mates over the years, way back, even in the mid to early 90s, he was always there, and in that same car, I don't think he had anything else. I don't really know the guy very well, but I know, I know him, and you would always say, oh, how you going? Freaking car's going good, all that sort of stuff. A bit of a quick yarn, and then you'd go around and see everybody else sort of thing. All the regulars, that you would always yarn to and bits and pieces, but crazy. You never know when your number's up. So make the most of it while you're here. All right, I'll get this thing wiped down. Alrighty, so that took about an hour, about an hour 20 to blow that on. And I basically didn't stop because it was flashing off almost as fast as I could put it on. So it was, yeah, I didn't panic about just waiting, if you know what I mean. You know, putting a few coats on, then wait, and then a few coats and then wait, because it was, by the time I actually come back around, I could actually touch, like up here, and it was dry. It's crazy, but that's cool. So hopefully, yeah, well, I'm not going to say, but hopefully this is a really good start. You know, we'll block back, we'll fill any other imperfections that we find, and all those sorts of things. I think I'm going to have to adjust that edge, because when I opened the door to spray it, it caught that edge. Stupid fucking wooden cars. You can even see how that gap's opened up there. Like, it's freaking weird. It's the temperature, because as it gets hotter, the gaps grow. It's an absolute pain in the ass. But anyway, it is what it is. I might have to try and space these back a little bit or something. I don't know. I just blew sort of one coat in and around the actual shut bit itself. As I do more priming, I will blow another, you know, some more in there. At the next stage. So anyway, so I think it looks pretty. It's hard to tell because it's flattened off quite fast. But I got shitloads on there. I really poured it on down the bottom here, because when I was blocking back, I could still see it was there was a lot of speckly unsanded paint, you know, from when I blocked it back, but there was steel touching. So like every time I poured it on there, I actually would almost blow another almost 2 sweeps through that bottom section, you know, a lot of the time. And up around here, you know, I blew, 9 times out of 10 I had to come back and do another pass through there and around the wheel arches and across these bottom pieces. You know, I'd always do an extra sweep across them. Like I had to try to make that run, because I was trying to actually pour a wee bit in there. So I actually tried to make that. Well, I didn't try to make it run, but I actually had it on there for a bit. Because I don't know whether I'm actually, if I can get some, if I can get that Dodge in here and I get a down payment, I'm going to buy myself a better primer gun, because for some reason, I don't know what it is with that. I can't get it was good the first few times I used it. It wasn't an expensive gun. It's a decent brand. It was one of their lower end guns. I thought for a primer gun, 1.8, it should do the job without, having to pour, decent money at a gun for just spraying primer on. But it's been a pig. After we really thinned it out, but even then I couldn't get the pattern was sort of almost kicked up, the spray pattern, which was pissing me off too, because I managed to get it lay out pretty reasonable. I didn't have any major issues, but it was just annoying. And I would like to get, because I was reducing it, how much was I reducing this stuff in the end? 30%. Okay, 30% reducer in there, just to get it to spray nice. And it's warm, like I'm sweating, you can see the moisture on my forehead, off my fingers. So yeah, like it should be thin enough and runny enough that it should spray through a 1.8 fairly easily at a very low reduce rate, like 10% or less, it should spray through there at this temperature. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's warm. It is quite warm. But that's cool. They're all primed. We can get them blocked back. Fix any other little spots that as we block back and find. I can actually see. I actually didn't realise down in here, this piece, it's actually a little bit ripply, so I'll have to smear a bit of, a little bit of putty or something in there and smooth that out so it looks way better. Stuff like that. We're still going to put a bit of body filler in those wheel arches and clean that up. I'll do that, you know, we'll get that done before the last prime sort of thing. It's one of those things we can just smash a couple of coats on it, and as long as it's reasonably smooth, when we put a stone guard on there, underneath there, like, you're never fucking going to know it. So like, it's not a real panic to be perfect. It's just going to be, you know, we'll just make sure we put a reasonable amount on there and then smooth it out. So it's fairly smooth. You know, we'll just make sure we get rid of all of them, any marks in it within reason. You know, and then just smash a couple of coats of high build on it, just to seal it up. You know, give that a quick rub back, and then stone guard it, and then paint. So yeah, so that's where we're at. I'll check the time, hold on. Yeah, so it's about 3:30. I'll have a quick clean up, and better clean up my gun, and have a bit of a sort out. And I think I might just bugger off for the day. Just leave this alone. Keep the doors closed, keep the bugs out of here, sort of type thing. But it's dry now. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. But yeah, just leave it. And yeah, hopefully next week we'll start blocking it back. Yeah, and find any other little issues, I guess. And hopefully, like, the body's going to need at least another major prime, and then then maybe another couple of light coats just to seal it up, to give it a block back before we hit the paint on it. But hopefully the back part of the body, it should be pretty good now. Hopefully, Jesus. But it was a bit funny around the bottom still. But yeah, like the rest of it. Now from here we've got a little bit of sorting to do, because this wasn't really finished too well, but the other side's better. I got it a bit more. I got it a bit more finished before we sort of got to this point, if you know what I mean. Whereas the other side wasn't quite so finished. But it's not going to take a lot more to get it really good. And here, like, I don't have to, as long as I'm fairly fussy, sort of that bottom part of that, as long as I'm fairly fussy, I'm not too panicked about the top, because, as I said, the material's going to be over it. And I will probably just mask it, halfway up when we spray, and just leave the rest of it. And, well, no, it probably doesn't even matter. I'll just spray it, and then when they go to put the upholstery on, we'll just tell them that, the upholstery comes down to where this level is all the way around. That's the easiest way to do it. That should be fairly solid. Hopefully we don't have any issues with it, if it cracked the body full or anything through there. Don't think it should. Hope not, but it'll be covered if it ever does. Not that I want it to, but if it does happen to, it's, the material, the upholstery comes down in there, and then also the hood, the top comes down there. So hopefully, if it never does do anything stupid, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, I left the back of that inside piece. I'm debating whether to pull it off, because it's, I don't know what it's going to be like for them to upholster with it on there. They're going to have to glue it on there, glue it onto it, whereas if they don't have that backing on it, they can just pull it over the top, maybe put a couple of, just put some padding and stuff, put a backing and a padding, and then pull it down and attach it around the bottom of the wood, you know what I mean? Whereas that there, they've actually got to glue it to it. I don't know, I think that bit's going to be a pain in the arse. But anyway, yeah, we'll leave it at that, I think. We'll leave it at that. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, or in the next video, or wherever. Right, cheers. And if this is the end of the video, please like, share and subscribe, and tell your friends and whatever else. See you next time. Thanks.